Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Conversations with Doc Lou and Friends. This is part of the Mind Care Club podcast, and every first Friday, at least for the year 2022, we're going to have this live conversation where I'm able to invite some of my friends to come and share their insights and discuss certain topics online for the benefit of all the Mind Care Club members and our partners. Happy New Year and good evening to all of you. So, I'm Dr. Lou Kerubin, Chief Medical Officer of the Mind Care Club, and I'd like to introduce you all to this episode, which is for Valentine's Day. We're going to talk about online dating and long distance relationships. So, that's a very exciting topic. Of course, February is always known for Valentine's Day, and so we'd like to move away from just talking about the usual romantic dates that people are thinking about and how they can celebrate Valentine's Day. We'll talk about how we as a community at this time of the pandemic are actually able to find relationships and make friendships despite the phenomenon of physical and social distancing. Our tonight's guest is a good friend. Her name is Cathy Sanchez Babao. Kathy.
Hi, Dr. Wu. Good evening, and thank you
Hi,
so.
hi, good evening. Yes, I'd like to introduce Kathy to everyone. I know Kathy as primarily a grief coach and counselor, but she's also a freelance communication specialist and has extensive experience working for healthcare and pharmaceutical industries. Kathy was also a regular Sunday columnist of the Philippine Daily Inquirer a while back, and I remember I would read her column every Sunday because they're always insightful and they talk about meaning, which I think is really a nice thing to read on a Sunday morning. So Kathy is currently practicing as a grief counselor, and I've invited her tonight. I guess because you strike me, Kathy, as having such a generous capacity to draw from your own personal experience of loss in the process of helping other people redefine themselves. So, while she may refuse to introduce herself as an expert on long distance relationships and online dating, I invited her today to speak about this issue both from experiences of others, her own lived experience, but more importantly, I think in the context of her journey as a coach and counselor. No? So, Kathy, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Thank you so much for having me on your Dr. Wu and Friends. So I'm really excited. I mean, this is different, right? When people invite me, they usually we talk about loss and grief, and so this is something nice and new and different.
Yeah, but kasi originally, 'di ba, last year we were talking about setting up this whole episode on grief, but things started to overtake events and we just didn't find the time to actually do it. But lo
Right.
and behold, yun pala because our topic is going to be something more interesting, which is online dating. So that there will be two parts to this discussion. The first one will be the phenomenon of online dating, and then the second part is when we talk about long distance relationships and how people can cope and make them last. So when I was looking at trying to study and research online dating, I was so surprised to actually discover that the very first time that there was ever a semblance of online dating was way back in 1995, and that was super long ago. I was still, I think, in residency training in 1995, so I couldn't even remember what was happening. But back then, the purpose of the online dating site was to actually bridge or make it easier for people to meet each other
Right.
and form friendships or eventually fall in love if ever they reach that point. So and finding an eventual friend or partner. that has not changed, right? I mean, online dating is still for that purpose. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
I believe, yeah, basically it's still for that, for that purpose. Although, like, when you online date, there are like, I wouldn't say categories, but they ask you, okay, what are you looking for? Are you looking
Mm,
for just to date? Are you looking to be in a serious relationship? Or are you
mm,
looking for marriage? Or in like in
mm,
some Christian sites, they'll say, oh, I just want to see where God will take this. There's actually that option. Yeah.
mm.
So it
So,
depends.
so siguro ano for purposes of discussion, especially dun sa mga hindi na millennials kasi may mga nakikinig at saka nanonood sa atin na hindi na millennials, no? Ano ba talaga yung definition ng online dating?
Well, online dating is basically, using the dating apps or the dating sites to find, I guess to find someone that you would be interested in dating. Usually, it's used by people who are well. I wouldn't say that it's only used long distance because sometimes within
Mm,
cities, people do use online dating, especially now in this time of the pandemic where there were so
mm.
many restrictions. So how do you meet people, right? I mean, so they would, I know the subscriptions to all these online dating these sites and apps shot up during I think 2020. The number
So
of
at the
people who
height,
went on.
yeah,
Yes.
the number of people who went on and subscribed to dating sites.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. What was
Yeah.
interesting also, as I was telling you earlier, I was conversing with some of the people I work with, only to realize that a good number of them actually met their partners through online dating sites.
Yes.
And so when I told them that we were going to discuss it tonight, they were saying, "Oh, it's really exciting, and it you really get surprised about the people you meet on online
Right.
dating sites." So and the nice thing was they were saying it really worked for them because the people they met or their current partners are actually people they met through an online dating site.
That's right. Yes. Because if you harness it well, I mean, and if you use it well, I think you can actually be successful. I mean, the relationship can actually succeed. Of course, there are many cons, but there are many pros to it as well.
So, one of the common things that people will actually ask siguro is, especially if you haven't tried it, no? I guess some of the people listening to us now probably haven't tried online dating
Right.
before. So, what are the basic things that you need to look for? Like, kunwari, you're trying to choose an online dating
Right.
site. Paano? Alin saan ako magsusubscribe? Kasi sobrang dami, di ba?
Tama, oo. Well, there's so many dating sites na talaga now. Like, there's really a lot. So, and some of them are, I don't want na lang to mention which apps, right? But some apps are more known for like what they call hookups. So just
Yeah.
you just want to go out and just want to have fun. So it's clear for both parties. But there are also sites that are really more for relationships or serious relationships. I mean, you're there because you're not there to just play around, but you're really there to find someone and
Mm.
perhaps build a relationship with that person, or that it'll go
How
into a romantic relationship.
so one of the key things that people have to know will be which site to go
Yeah.
to and where which one to subscribe to, right?
Right. So what you can do is you can research. I mean, you can go online and look at all these
Yeah.
available dating sites. You can also ask your friends who are already like online dating, what their experience is, because usually, at least with the younger crowd, I'm saying those in the 20s and 30s, they'll be on several apps. They'll be on like
Mhm.
at least three apps, because they're like
Mhm.
selecting. So they have a feel, of the crowd or of the profile of people who are on this particular app. So
Do
you have
you
to do
need
your
to
research.
pay? Do you need to pay to subscribe?
There are sites that are free and there are sites where you have to pay. So syempre,
Mhm.
your chances of meeting, I mean, we've heard all these like horror stories, right? Of people
Mm-hmm. Yung mga nasa
scam,
scam. Yeah.
ghosted, and all that. The chances, of course, of that will be much higher on the free sites because there's
Okay.
no responsibility, right? On the, there's no commitment on either party to like
Yeah.
disclose, or so tsaka hindi bine-vet. I mean, there are sites where you have to submit your ID, or you have to submit your whatever passport to really show that you're that person. Because on online
Mm.
dating, there's really a lot of like fraud.
Mm.
I mean,
Mm.
let's put that on the table. That's a given. How
Mm.
like the percentage of people who are catfished. Uh,
Right.
it's pretty high, and we know that there have been movies about this. In fact, there's a good one on Netflix if you're considering online dating. Watch
Yes.
I just saw it, in fact, the one that you mentioned. And it's
Clickbait.
yeah, there's a new one.
There's a
Tinder
new one pa.
Tinder, yeah, Tinder Swindler. So it actually named the dating site Tinder Swindler.
Okay.
Yeah, so yun.
So yun nga kasi it's also tama ka when you were saying it has pros and it has cons.
Right.
So I think it's just like if it's not online dating, if you were out to date in a
Mhm.
normal environment, you choose where you the places where you go to
Yes.
because there will be a natural selection of the type of people you will likely meet, 'di
Right.
ba?
Right.
So if you, for example, want to hook up, as you were saying, there are sites where people can actually be more available for that
That's
kind of
right.
interaction. But
Yeah.
there are very serious dating sites as well. Now,
Mhm.
we were talking earlier about all the millennials are so sanay kasi they are already citizens of this virtual environment,
Mhm.
'di ba?
Right.
But
Right.
yun na nga, in the course of preparing for this conversation, I was looking at, oh my God, there are dating sites na divided according to certain demographic, like 50 and above.
Yes.
50 and above academics, yung isa naman professionals, and if you look at the younger this dating sites for younger people, mas open yung they don't mention the age, 'di ba? But
Yes.
it targets
Mhm.
specific types of people.
Right. Like in the West, I know there are like dating sites for those above 50. Nakasegregate talaga siya. There are those for super seniors. So it's like it really depends on, I guess, where you are, and what you want. And there are like dating sites, of course, that specifically target, our women, di ba? Filipino women.
Yes.
I mean, we get such a bad rap, right? But because of marami ring marami ring kalokohan, 'di ba? I mean, there's a lot of yeah, fraud that
Okay, so
fraud that goes on.
So we've tackled this kasi part of making online dating work for you, you start with choosing the right
Right,
site,
right.
the
Yes.
right dating site for yourself, for your purpose, what you
Correct.
want to achieve.
Yeah.
What about preparing parang your profile?
Yeah, yeah. When you use your profile, what they say is you don't use the pictures that, well, it depends, no? Some people will use photos that they have on social media, like on what they
Mm,
have on IG or what they have on Facebook. But they
mm,
say it's safer if you don't use those, those pictures, because it can be tracked to your social media site. And if you're still starting out and you really don't know who you're gonna meet there, diba, you don't want to expose yourself, of course, first too much, right? And then you don't use your
mm.
real name. I mean, you can use your nickname, and you don't give, of course, you don't put your address there, or you don't disclose too much, diba? You just disclose enough, because again, it just to be aware and just to protect yourself, that there are many there that are just out there to scam. I'm not saying everybody, but it's a huge percentage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, pero you want to appear good,
Yes.
'di ba? In your profile, you want to be interesting.
Right.
Kasi sobrang bilis naman you just swipe, swipe, swipe. So
Mhm.
kung hindi ka masyadong interesting,
Oo. Yeah.
paano yun? 'Di ba?
Yeah. You,
So, I think,
of course, you
so
have to use
choosing
good
your,
photos. Yeah.
yeah,
Good
choose
photos.
good photos, okay. But,
It's like it depends on what image are you trying to project. So of course I'm talking about because it's a wide demographic, right? So the younger
yes, yes.
people would be more bolder, I would say, but it's always safer to play it on the safe side. Don't disclose too much, don't show too much also right away, because of course, syempre, the people naman that you want to, again, it depends on what you are on the site for, right? If you're just
Mm,
there to hook
mm,
up, then
mm.
your pictures will probably match your objective, right? But if you're there to get find someone that you can get into a serious relationship with,
Yeah.
then of course yung presentable naman, di ba? Na
Okay, so you have to choose a nice picture. You have to say something interesting about
about
yourself.
yourself. Yes. Yeah, your
Yes,
interest. Mm-hmm.
your interests, okay. But you don't say too much, and specifically by too much you're pertaining to personal data
Right,
that
right.
people can use to track you down.
Yes, you don't want that. Yeah, don't want that.
Okay.
People are able to track you down right away. And certain sites, Doc Lou, have like a thorough, there are many questions that you answer, so that
Mm,
they do that for all people who sign up on their site. So that what they do is they have an algorithm. It takes actually
okay.
a lot of the work out. If you're serious about answering those questions, you're bound to be matched with someone who also has the similar values and similar interests and all that.
Mm,
Minsan may
mm,
percentages pa yan eh. Okay, you are 90% matched or 95%, or like meron, very rarely there's like 100%, right? You're 100%.
wow.
Yeah. So right off the bat, right, you say, okay, I won't pay attention anymore to the ones who are like below 90%, right? To save myself the
Okay.
hassle of, chatting or spending time, in conversation with these people.
And then not, and it not going anywhere.
Yes, precisely.
We will invite those who are watching or listening to us to also send in their questions. You can put it in the chat box or comments, not just questions, comments. You can share your experience, if you have any about online dating, or ask questions like what we're discussing now. So yeah, there's this movie, hindi, it's a series, yun nga I was saying about clickbait, 'di ba? So that is one of the downside, I think, of this online dating, because there's this part there where someone who was supposedly dating this person thought that they have a relationship, and did go and wanted to see the partner, or
Yes.
only to find out na na-catfish siya.
Right. But there are many success stories also. Like
Yes.
I've known of, personal friends who found their, partner there, and eventually they got married, like, yeah, like in my college batch, there's like, I know personally of three, who are success, and and who are still together. They're still married to this day, and they found each other on the dating site, on a dating app.
Okay. But that's really very interesting, no? So, yung kasing, how do you find a person you will be in a relationship with in a
Right.
virtual environment? I think it even has become more alive when the pandemic happened, because people can't go out and there is so much isolation and loneliness. So, after you, for example, na put up your profile, and then somebody tries to chat with you, or you're
Right.
interested in chatting with someone, and you send a message, what would be the tips, for
Mhm.
example, that you can share with the people watching or listening about how to establish the contact or connection with a potential person? Kasi lahat yan maybe eh. Lahat ng
Mhm.
mga tao na
That's
yan na
true.
makikita mo sa ano, they are maybes. So
Yeah.
how do you establish the connection and then eventually move into and into a an actual meetup.
Right, right. Well, usually what happens is, there are at least like, at the very least, two or three people, who will respond to your profile and reach out to you and message you.
Mm,
So ano ka lang, you can chat. You can chat. And when I say chat, you keep it within the dating app. You don't give
mm,
your email or your telephone
mm,
number or all that. So that's actually a red flag, unless they like completely disclose, who they are. And yeah, there's a question: what are the red flags that would suggest, okay, is a liar or a scammer? So
mm,
unless that person like right off the bat gives their name, right? Okay, my name is like this and you can Google me and all that. Unless that's like given, you have to assume that this is not the person's real name, diba? You validate the things that are written on their profile. So that
yeah.
takes time, diba? That takes chatting, that takes engaging and keeping it safe within the site. I mean, what are the red flags? They don't disclose to you who they are, and already
Mm-hmm,
they want your telephone number, they want your
mm-hmm,
mobile number, they want your email address. They take it so fast. It goes like
mm,
it goes too fast. And then you will notice that there are inconsistencies. Like someone will say, oh, I graduated engineering from MIT, and so and so and so. But when you converse with them, it's like their English is all over the place, right? So, or they like say things like,
okay.
I have a chauffeur, or I have a chef, and it's like, the lifestyles of the rich and the famous, right? So,
Rich and famous, yeah.
yeah, so these things, no? And so you test. So you also have to be astute, and
Yes.
noticing na, parang it's not true yet. And then, okay, so you talk, right? And then you say, okay, how about, we do FaceTime, right? Actually,
Mm,
FaceTime or Zoom. I mean, in this day and
mm,
age, right? So easy to do that. And then they're very avoidant. They'll say, okay, my internet is like, flaky. I mean, that's really funny, right? Especially if they're coming from the West, right? The
yeah, yeah.
Europe or US, and their internet is flaky, or they're always making excuses not
Mm-hmm,
to video, not to do a
mm-hmm,
face to face. So there, that's
mm-hmm,
right away, that's a red flag. Or
mm,
you're just chatting and all that, and suddenly they ask for financial, help. They make some sort of excuse that, oh,
mm-hmm.
I have a business, and I need additional capital, or like stuff like that. So, but you'll be surprised. There's so many women who fall prey to that. Because the scammers also are very astute. Usually, they prey on women 40 and above, you know. Uh,
Oh my,
and
okay.
they'll say, oh, she's lonely. She like, fall right away to, and they call you like, they already have terms of endearment. I mean, you've only been like chatting for like what, 2 days, and then,
Mm,
in the terms of endearment. And of course, if you're a
mm,
woman and you're lonely, and there's this person who's like always there and very attentive, and that's usually the profile. So I mean, I've known of cases where anywhere from 10 to 50,000 pesos, have been like
they were scammed.
scammed. Yeah, they were scammed.
Wow.
So
So I think it really does take a huge part common sense and not to be
yes,
so naive when you go into online dating.
that's
So
right.
I think one of the things that you mentioned that I'd like to highlight is the fact that the profiles are not exactly the person. You know, there it's a part of that person, but it's not the whole of that person.
Right. Or
So
sometimes it's really identity theft. They use pictures that are
yes,
not really them. That's why the video
them.
call is important, because then you'll see,
Okay.
is this does the picture match the image on the video, right?
On the
So
video, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tsaka in the beginning, always communicate within the site, right? Not
Inside. Yes.
outside of it. Kasi yung
Yes.
mga nasa scam, yun yung, yan, mabilis, and then
Mhm. They
they
give the
leave
number right
the
now.
site, they give the number, they
Mhm.
relate to that person outside of the site. So security of the online dating site that
Mhm.
you became a member of is suddenly now gone because you're not in the site anymore. So
Right,
it's like
right.
you went out to maybe the mall or the restaurant
Mhm.
to be chatting, and
Right,
then you leave. So you're not in a safe
right.
space anymore. Ganun din 'yon.
Correct.
Except nasa virtual environment tayo.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. And then, when you like decide to finally, let's say, done your chat and you've done your FaceTime and or your Zoom and
Mm.
whatever, and you decide, okay,
Mm.
let's meet up. So you have to meet up first date in a very public place, very
Yes.
public place. You have to tell at least one friend, you show the picture, okay, this is the person that I'm meeting. I'm gonna be here at this time, just for your safety, and just so somebody knows that you're there, that you're dating, and you're meeting this person for the first time. So coffee is
Okay.
always safe, like a Starbucks,
Yes.
any yeah, any very public place. And then you take time, di ba, when you're there to really talk and get to know the person.
Mm.
And again,
Mm.
even if there are a lot of horror stories, there are also the success stories. So then
Mm.
sometimes, oh yeah, no, some I just celebrated our anniversary.
Yay! Happy anniversary.
Yeah, somebody also was like just 1 year. Somebody was like 5 years. So
5 years, yes.
yeah. So from there, from online dating, it will move if you are far away from each other geographically. Then you go into
Mm.
an LDR, right? Long distance relationship.
Yan, oo. So, as you said earlier, hindi lahat ng online dating LDR. Minsan, you're in the same
Yes,
city, like you're
right,
both in Manila, but you're in a dating site, etc.
right,
But in a lot of other instances, especially now with border closures,
right.
lockdowns, every now and then, people are moving into long distance relationships.
Relationship.
So,
Yes.
ah, ano ba ang definition ng LDR? Paano
Well,
natin alam na long distance
yeah.
relationship na 'yan?
Well, usually, of course, it's a romantic relationship, right? That you are
Yeah.
you are having a romantic relationship with someone who is geographically distant, right, from you.
Mhm.
So, when geographically distant, it can be in the same country, right? You can be in Manila and
Mhm.
the person is
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
Davao, right? Or even within Luzon, Manila, pero Bicol, yung ganyan. So, it's the geographic distance that
Yeah.
defines the long distance. Because long distance is subjective, diba? Yeah. So,
Okay. I think a lot of young people now. So I just want to talk about the long distance relationship as an effect of the pandemic.
yes.
Like as you said, if you're, for example, in the same country or in the same city, but because of the lockdown, you're separated, or your college sweethearts, or you're going to school now. There's no face to face. At best,
Yes.
nag-hybrid yung ano. So, technically, nagiging long distance even if you're living in the same area.
Right. Right.
Um, it must be difficult. There was a comment earlier nung kasi in-advertise natin tong ano natin sa Facebook, no. And there were people commenting that the distance sucks, or I don't like being separated from my partner, etc. May mga ganong comments. So there really are people who are not ready
Mhm.
or not cut out to carry on with
Right.
a long distance relationship.
Yes. Because I guess nowadays, over the pandemic, there's like two scenarios. Is one, you meet
Mm.
someone, through an online dating app, and then you click and you have a long distance relationship, but you've never been
Mm.
physically with that person yet. I mean, you've not really
Yes,
met that
yes.
person, right? That's one scenario. The other scenario is you're together na, diba? You're like, you have
Mm.
a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and then suddenly with the pandemic, you became long distance. So there's, diba,
Mm.
two scenarios.
Mm.
of course, under both scenarios, it's like parang it's even I think it's well it's hard for both, I think I'm thinking now it's hard also for like you're used to being together and then suddenly you're not like together, right? So but
Mm-hmm.
LDR also has its advantages because you really get to know the person. I mean, because you're talking, right? I mean, you're not physically together, so it's an opportunity to really get to know, if you've never met that person, really get to know this person and see if there's a commonality, see if,
Mm-hmm.
it can develop into something deeper. And for those who used to
Mm-hmm.
be physically together but are not together now, yeah, again, it's a chance to deepen it's a chance to deepen the relationship because
Mm-hmm.
have is talk, right? All you have is talk. So you have to be creative and think of ways how to sustain the sustain the relationship. So it takes work. Yeah. An
Yeah, yeah.
LDR an LDR takes work and commitment.
But work and commitment are, two things that would be important whether it's LDR or not eh.
That's
'Di
right.
ba? Parang
Good point.
the
Yeah.
the the ano kasi the whole idea, I think when we talk about relationships and expect that we are always together, that
Mm,
is a very narrow definition of what a
right.
relationship is supposed to be.
Right.
Oh, ito, asking for a friend. May formula po ba to make LDR work?
Well,
Nice question.
Yeah. Well, not one formula, but maybe certain givens, no? Like,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, there has to be trust. I mean, if you're
Yes.
the type of person who has like major trust issues, an LDR might not be good for you. But even if you have trust issues, it's also a venue, I guess, to like work on those issues. But trust is number one. You have to trust each other because LDR, I mean, you're not together 24/7, right? So I guess even in a relationship where you're together, trust is still very important. And
Yep.
then
Yeah.
communication, of course, right? Communicate. Not naman yung I mean, you have schedules, you have lives, right? But it's important, I think, that you communicate every day, every day, even for just a few minutes each day. I mean, that's how will it grow and thrive, if you're in an LDR and you're just texting the whole time. It doesn't, that's not going to work. I mean, there's no effort put into it. There's not much effort in a text, right? So as you
Mm-hmm.
live your
Mm-hmm.
life, you can still share of each other's lives, by sending pictures, sending, during your day and all that. And then creativity. Creativity
Mm-hmm.
is is important. You can't just be talking the whole time. I mean, that's going to be so boring, right? So you have to like do you have to have activities, diba? Watch movies together through Zoom. You can read the same book together and set aside time during the week to discuss it. Don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that sounds so geeky, but whatever you're interested in, right? Or
Whatever you're interested
diba,
in, yeah.
you can transport it into the digital world. And then
Mm.
care packages, yeah, and care packages are nice. Depends on what the love language is, right? I mean, you can
Yes.
up on that love languages. So then you find ways and means to address the love language, and of course, consistencies is very important.
Okay. So
Consistency.
trust, daily communication, or at least finding time to regularly communicate with each other, primarily talk,
Hmm?
creativity,
Creativity,
in
yeah,
terms of using technology so that you could spend time together,
right.
and consistency.
Hmm? Consistency, yeah. Care package. Oh, parang madami. Just like there are a lot of comments or questions is that like I can see it like popping up. Yeah. What if you're on
Yes.
different schedules or time zones.
Yeah, that's a question. Yeah, I saw that nga. Oo nga. Ay, that's so common now. The
Right.
world has really gone smaller. Okay, how
Yes.
do we deal with this? So, you're in
Well,
different time zones.
right. You have to find, I mean, even if you're on different time zones, there's some part of his day and your day where it's possible to, you know, to connect and to meet up. I mean, there's so many hours in a day, di ba? So even if the time zone is makakahanap at makakahanap kayo. You know, if you're willing, you will be able to find a time where you can, FaceTime, or you can, like I said, Zoom, or talk on the phone, I mean, if we're talking about the US, then if it's in the East Coast, that's very easy, right? Because it's the
Yeah,
same,
it's 12
just
hours. Yeah.
12 hours, right? The West Coast, yeah, sometimes that can be a challenge, but no, if you're intentional, you'll be able to find the time that works for both of you, even if
Oh, I'd
it's just
like to underscore the word intentional with what you
intentional.
said. Yeah, intentional. So it really is a conscious choice. It's a decision. It's so
Right.
easy to just give up on any relationship, whether it's
Agree.
long distance or not. But I think the decision to keep on working in a relationship is something we really must do, whichever kind of relationship we're into. But more so, it crystallizes all the more in a long distance relationship because the physical togetherness is not
Mm-hmm.
there. There's a certain domain of the relationship that you're
Right.
not privileged to have, at least
Yes.
for a particular span of time,
Right.
you know.
Right. That's right.
So, in a sense, sobrang exciting, no?
Yeah.
Ayan, date po ba ang Netflix watch party? Oh,
Yes, it's a date. You can, like, maybe one week you pick the movie, di ba? The next week your partner picks the movie. Para naman it's not always the movie that you want, because your interests might, like, he likes horror films, but you don't like horror films. You like romantic comedy, right? He doesn't really like romantic comedy. So I think that's also part of the relationship where you kind of, like, get to know each other's interests, di ba? If you've never watched
mm,
a horror movie, I mean, there's always a first time, di ba? So,
yeah.
bigayan, di ba? Bigayan. So, yes, Netflix watch party is a day. Watching HBO, like a series, like The Gilded Age, for example. It just started.
Yes.
So, you can, like, set, okay, one day this week, we're gonna watch The Gilded Age together. So, diba, sabay kayo, there's a common interest. So then you can discuss
Yes.
the scene after. I think there's a question. How?
Yeah. This how to introduce my LDR boyfriend to my parent. May prejudice and strong opinions po siya about LDRs. Mm.
Sana you told your parent to watch tonight. Or you can, like, you can, or
We
you
can
can,
talk to your parents.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or I think, is this gonna stay on the site, Doc Lou? I'm not sure, but if in case it is, then this is something that you can show your mom or your dad, di ba? Para they'll have, because of course parents will have hesitation, syempre, di ba? In their mind, it's like
Yeah.
online yan, di ba?
Mm.
You not seen this person and all that, and they'll have all this. So you have to quiet and address their fears so that they
Mm.
mabawasan yung prejudice nila, di ba? And of course, you can introduce your boyfriend through FaceTime or through Zoom, and then when he comes and visits, then make him spend time with your parents para, di ba, they can also see what kind of
Mm.
young man he is. Yeah.
Mm. Tsaka from experience, yung mga prejudice ng parents is
Yes.
still protective of your own child eh.
That's right.
We tend to be protective of each other as
Mhm.
family. Lahat tayo.
Correct.
Walang exception 'yan. So I think nadadagdagan yung prejudice because ibang phenomenon ng online dating. It did not exist several
Yeah.
decades ago. What I told you, 95, that's
Right.
when it started. And it's
Mm-hmm.
been a while, but it's really evolved into a whole community unto itself, di ba?
Right. It probably did not exist during your parents' time, so it's something
That's
that's
right.
completely, like, alien to them. So it just
Mm,
takes time to just give them time to understand it better.
mm. Tsaka yung mga ewan ko eh, Kathy, yung experience mo, no? But yung experience ko, the parents who are against their children's relationships actually mellow or warm up to the boyfriend or to the girlfriend of their child once they have seen that the relationship is serious, that the other person is sincere, you know? So, the fear, okay lang yan sa umpisa. So, but if your boyfriend proves to
Mm.
you by loving you
Yes,
that your parents can trust him, then I guess it doesn't matter whether you met online or not.
correct, correct.
Mm.
That's true. So time.
Okay. Gusto ko lang balikan yung what you mentioned earlier about the language of love, no? and
Yes, love
and
languages.
connecting, yeah, and then connecting it to the what you were saying, the care package and
Yes,
all
care
that.
package,
So
right? Yeah.
okay,
So
so
know your partner's love languages. You can just Google that. The five love languages.
there are
So
5 love
yeah,
languages,
there are
yeah.
five, right? Words of affirmation, acts of service, time, physical touch, and gifts. Yeah, I think
Mm,
those are the five love
mm,
languages. So find out what their love language is, and distance is never, distance is not, well, yung physical touch, medyo mahirap yun sa distance. But all the other four
mm,
languages, I believe, can be expressed even if it's online. Gottman. Oh, no. No, John Gottman is different. Love languages is, I forget who it is right now, but now that you've mentioned Gottman, for those who are in an LDR, he
mm,
has a book called Eight Dates. So
mm.
you can get that book. That's a good activity actually that you can do with your partner who is in the LDR too. Because I'm a Gottman fan, and he's really good. So he did this book, Eight Dates. So there are eight topics that you talk about. There are questions to guide you and all that. So, oh yeah, 8 dates na yun, di ba? So, yeah, I think it's available on Amazon. So,
Mm.
there.
Ang nangyayari dito, isa sa advantages I think of the long distance relationship we're talking about is the focus now on getting to know each other without the physical touch aspect of
Yes,
the relationship.
right.
And in a sense, it really deepens the way you know each other. 'Di ba? So, because you're talking more, it's more intentional, it's more purposive, and that's very important. We lose that kind of decision making, active decision making, to continue loving and continue relating.
Yes, yes.
So I guess there are many couples na siguro are in an LDR and are communicating so much better than couples who are living together.
I believe that. Yes. In fact, if I may, it's a story I wrote. Actually, it was a post that I wrote lang on my Facebook. This was in before pandemic, 2018,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. So I had stumbled.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the mall and I got hungry, so I went to a KFC. And when I was in KFC, I saw this young man. He's like with his phone in front of him, intently, like talking to his babae, so his girlfriend, while he was having his dinner and all that. And the irony of it for me was right across him there was another couple, and they were a couple, and they were not talking. Each one was,
Yes.
on their phone.
They
So
were talking onto their phones,
yes,
yes.
right. So I was so moved by that. So I interviewed the guy beside me. I said, "Hi, is that your girlfriend?" And then he goes, "Yes, di ba, Ate Rivida? Yes po." And then I said, "Oh, how nice naman, you're having a meal together." And then he goes, "Yes, because she's in Canada, so that's right, breakfast, dinner, right?" I said, "Oh, that's so
Mm,
sweet." And he goes,
mm,
"Yes, we do it twice a day. Sometimes it's my breakfast and then it's her dinner and all that." And so I was like, wow, so touched by that. So actually,
yes.
I made friends with him eventually because I wrote a longer story. And 2 years later, they got married. So their LDR ended. And ninang ako nung
And
kinasal sila.
oh, it
That's the
ended
true,
really
that's the true
nicely.
story.
That's
Yes.
fantastic. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so for everyone who's in an LDR, I think
Mhm.
it really tells you that with an LDR you're able to transcend a lot more of the barriers
Right.
in making a relationship last that you probably will not pay attention to if you were not in an
Yeah.
LDR. You
Agree.
know, that's one example. I mean, people who are in LDRs actually spend more time talking and communicating with each other, whereas others who are actually together have
Yes.
missed out on a lot of that communication.
That's right.
What
Yeah.
about celos, or like when you're
Jealousy.
uh yeah, the aspect of jealousy, like, diba, kunwari, oh, I've been texting you and you're not answering.
Yes.
Okay, how
Yeah.
do how
So,
can we deal with that?
yeah, well, that's why nga the trust talaga has to be strong, right? And if like the jealousy rears its head, you should
Mm-hmm.
always, and this I learned this, is you should always give the person the benefit of the doubt. Don't think of the worst thing right away. You know, think of,
Mm.
busy lang siya, di ba? Or maybe he's like tied up with something, or there's like an
Mm-hmm.
emergency. So, don't think of the worst thing right away. And then when you talk, you can always ask, right? Not in a combatant or combative way, but in a nice way. You can find out, right? He is, calling you, and just like, were you, so there are many ways of asking. Diba? Hindi yung
So,
hindi
uh
yung awayin mo kagad, di ba? Na,
oh.
nakatawag ng tawag, bakit, di ba? Hindi ka sumasagot, ganyan. So, but
Mm.
in an LDR, yeah, that's very common. Or like at a certain time, right? The person, you're used to it, and then the person doesn't
There's a
want.
routine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a routine. So right away you think, oh, what's up, right? What's happening? Turns out he just overslept, right? Because he was so
Mm.
tired. So don't
Mm.
let your mind race to. Don't let your thoughts be a runaway train. So because you don't know what really happened, diba? And to gain the
Mm.
trust is you tell each other your schedules, right? Or like what's going
Yeah.
on in your life, ganyan.
Yeah.
Uh, when you check in, oh, how was your day? Okay, so what do you have a big thing tomorrow? Or fine. And you should both be willing to share that. Kasi nga, you're
Mm.
far apart from each other, diba? So how do you build the trust? Is really be honest and transparent with each other, so there's no room for doubt.
Okay. Now there's a question about how do you prepare yourself emotionally and mentally for an LDR?
Well, first of all, yeah, yun na nga, you should read up and know that you have to be ready, that it's not, lalo na if it's a different time, if the time difference is a consideration, right? So you
Mm.
can't be the
Mm.
type of girlfriend or boyfriend who wants the other partner, there always right away, or like, you're calling and texting the whole time. So you need to have, I mean, siguro to be in a successful LDR, you really have to have a life of your own also. You need to be like happy on your own. Your life has to be full on your own. So this other person is, you know, just adding to the joy, diba? He or she is not filling the void, ba, Doc
Yeah.
Lou? When you go into a
Yes,
relationship,
I agree.
kailangan bumuo ka na, di ba? You really have to be whole. Don't expect, some other person to fill whatever you think is
Mm.
lacking. It's not gonna work, it's not gonna work. So to answer your question,
Yeah.
yes, I think you need to be happy on your own and have a life of your own.
Yes.
So then
Yes.
maybe the LDR will succeed. Yeah. Yeah, I like what Benjo said there.
Having a
Yeah.
sense of independence.
Yes, that's true, Banjo. Wherein you both feel like
Yeah.
growing, yes, in different countries, but also still have each other at the end of the day. Hey, that's really beautiful. That's very true too. I mean, people who are in an LDR can attest to. can attest to that. I mean, if it's healthy, di ba? Okay, you go off on your own, he goes off on his own, and then at the end of the day, you come together and you tell each other like how your how your day went.
What happened to you? Yeah, how your day went.
Yeah, right. And
Kaya
if
nga,
you're
alam, go ahead,
I mean,
Kathy,
and if you're
sorry.
like both awake na, or hindi, syempre may isang, I'm thinking of different time zones, right? If one is
Yeah.
awake, or just, and that, or patulog ka na, and the person is just starting their day, you can always
Hmm.
send them off, send them off on a bright and good note, di ba? Para maayos ang bukas ng araw nila. In the same way, they can do the same thing for you, di ba? So, there.
So, good morning sa kanya. You say, hi, good morning, have a nice day. And then siya naman tells you good night, have a good
That's
rest. And then you see
yeah.
each other again. Yeah.
The next day, di ba? So,
What's
yes.
very striking to me is as we continue talking
Mhm.
about how to make a LAN LDR work, they are the same things you need to make any relationship work.
Right.
No,
That's
and the
true.
advantage I think of being in an LDR is because you're aware that you are apart, you work harder,
Yes.
you
Yes.
communicate more, you create routines. In a sense, I think you are in forced, quote unquote, to actually live an individual life
Yes.
so that there is something to share in that common space, which would
Right.
be the relationship.
That's
And I
right.
think that's beautiful. That's
Mhm.
beautiful to be able to live as an individual and yet have room and space to share with
Right.
another person. It's a very intimate kind of
Mhm.
relationship.
True.
And that's
True.
what relationships are about. It's really parang Venn diagram, di ba? When the two circles, come
Right.
together and you
Yes.
share that common space,
Yes.
but you still maintain your individuality and your growth. That's
Correct.
what relationships are about.
Yes. But also, and I think it's important to say this, LDR cannot remain LDR forever. I mean,
Forever. Yon.
there
Hindi
has
pwedeng
to
forever.
there has to be an agreement. Like there's this one couple I knew that they were in an LDR for a total of like I think 6 years. So I said, how did that they're married
Wow.
now? No, they agreed that every 4 6 months the guy was in Europe, the girl was here, both Filipinos. They agreed that every 6 months magkikita sila. Every and they
Mm-hmm.
kanon, they would talk every day, and then their long
Mm-hmm.
conversations would be like on the weekend, as in like really long conversations on the weekend. But yeah, it's important to say that it can't be LDR forever. You have to agree that yeah, when you are going to be together and when you are going to not be LDR anymore, diba? So
Mm.
it can't go
Mm.
on for an
It
interminable.
can't go on forever.
No.
Correct.
Right,
I
right.
agree.
Yeah.
So there's setting a target date when you plan to be together in person and be clear what the goal is. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right, Mark. So it really is a nice thing to actually have such plans, no?
That's
So
right.
it's like when you're asking your partner, where is this relationship going?
Yeah.
It's the same question
Right.
whether you're together physically or you're in an LDR. But
Yeah.
again, the decision and the purposiveness of the relationship is
Right.
is the thing I'd really like to emphasize, no, for everyone, especially the younger ones who are watching us and listening to this discussion.
Right.
Kasi hindi pwedeng relationship lang na walang end goal.
Mhm. Right.
If it doesn't have an end goal or you don't know where the relationship is going, then it after a while it is
Yes.
not going to go anywhere. The relationship will end.
That's true. That's very
Mm,
true. Yeah, that's very true. There has to be a clear, di ba, goal when I mean it can be
mm.
long, but there's a goal, right? You can
There's a
say that
goal.
yeah, like that couple, I know they said, okay, parang the longest was 5 years, that's it. Then you
Mm,
really have to do
mm.
it. we really have to be together because they were like taking their master spa at that time and all that. So
Mm,
that's
mm.
reasonable, right? So it's different for each. I guess it's different for each couple, you know. But yeah, you need to have a goal and work towards that goal, right?
Work towards that goal
Work towards
and review it, always go back to, are we still on the same page as far as this is concerned,
right.
and again, the communication becomes so important,
Important.
and the creativity. So
That's
there's
right.
a comment here in the chat box about the pandemic keeping us physically apart, but we send voice messages to feel closer, and I've read her poetry in voicemail.
Oh
Oh,
wow,
that's really
that's so
nice.
sweet. Yeah, that's really sweet. See, that's what I mean by creativity. You know, see, sent there. I read her poetry in the voice. That's really sweet. Voice messages. I mean, with technology now, there's just no excuse, not
There's
to.
no excuse,
There's
yes.
really no excuse. Yeah.
Well, unlike before, no, I guess when we were so much younger, we didn't
Yeah.
even have mobile phones. And it's like, oh my God, it's
Oh,
so difficult.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes,
So,
really.
so
Train. Walang forever sa LDR. Yeah,
walang forever sa LDR. Yeah. So,
that's right.
oh yeah, I'm so happy that the audience interacting very actively,
Yes.
and this is really an interesting topic to a lot of people, no? So, um I think siguro by now we can summarize the discussion, and we go for an hour, so we have a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes, to
Mm-hmm.
actually summarize the everything that we've discussed. So maybe
Right.
Kathy, some last few words that you'd like to impart to those who have joined us tonight.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of well, the younger people are braver, when it comes to online dating. So that's a good thing, right? Because it really requires boldness, putting yourself out there. It's harder when you're older. I mean, I guess it's
Mhm.
easier when you're younger, but just make sure that all your safety nets are in place. And if you're in an LDR, I think it's wonderful that you're in an LDR, right? Because it's an opportunity to really get to know the other person, such that, well, for those who met on LDR and have not been physically together, sometimes when you finally meet, it's just like an affirmation of everything that that was in your mind the whole time you were doing the LDR. And for those who are temporarily on an LDR, it's like use this time, use this period, to deepen your relationship in ways that you could not have done, had you been physically together the whole time. So I think
Mm.
you'll come out stronger even after that.
That's a very nice thing to say, that, after an LDR, people come out of it stronger, because I think a lot doubt whether LDRs work. But
Yes.
I've seen it work. I've seen people
Right.
in LDRs actually doing so much better, as I said, than people who are actually physically together.
Correct.
So there may be a stigma when they say, "Oh, LDR yan, mahirap yan." But actually, no. Any relationship can be difficult or easy, depending on the people who are involved in that relationship. But that
Right.
really, the nice thing about, as we're celebrating Valentine's Day
Mhm.
next week, really, di ba? The nice thing really is, you realize how much love is both, yes, an emotion which you actually feel, but at
Right.
the same time it propels you to make that decision to keep on committing and loving another person.
Right.
And it's beautiful. I think it's really beautiful to know how to love. It's
Yes.
one of the it gives you one of the greatest joys of
Yes.
being
Right.
alive, really.
Yeah. It's a choice,
It's a
especially when
choice.
it's a choice whether you're together, whether you're in an LDR. Every morning that you wake up, it's a choice that you make. even if the other person
Mm.
is so masungit, right, or like cranky or whatever. It's fleeting. You still choose to love the person, right?
You choose,
Yeah, it's
yes.
a choice that you make each and every day.
Oy, may pahabol na comment.
Yeah.
Let me just read it. So I think that
Yes.
what LDR does is that it gives couples the chance to show just how intentional they are with the relationship. Yes, totally agree. And
Right.
unlike with couples physically together, everything about LDR has to be intentional. Mm-mm, correct. And but that also makes meeting each other much sweeter when that time finally comes. Oh, parang fairy tale.
But that's true. Tama naman yan, John. I
Tama,
agree with
tama.
you. Yeah, I agree with all your points. It really makes you
Yes.
more intentional. Yeah, about the things you say and do, and you know, you can really have to focus on each other because right, your time when you video call is the only time that you see each other in the day.
That's
So
right.
you can't be like your eyes can't be wandering or you can't be like doing something else because you know,
That's right.
diba? So talagang ano, you're there. You have to be there fully there.
Yeah, so the attention and the presence, no? Yeah, so wow, it was a wonderful conversation with you, Kathy. I had
Me
so much
too.
fun
Yes.
talking about
Yeah.
about long distance relationships and online dating. And this episode really pushed me to read
Mhm.
about online dating because I wasn't dabbling into any. I wasn't thinking about it. But oh my gosh, I was so surprised that it's been running for a really long time now. And
Thank you,
I
Chris.
think yeah, thank you, Chris, for your comment. This is why we're doing live conversations just once a month to feature special topics to leave room for people to share their thoughts, and then also our way of reaching out to the general public. Kasi mental health naman is not about just illness and depression and anxiety.
Right.
Keeping our mental health intact is all about learning how to live our lives well. And I think loving and celebrating the love, whether it's long distance or not, is one
Mhm.
of the greatest things we can ever do in our lifetime.
That's right.
We have to celebrate. Celebrate each other and celebrate. Wow, walang tigil ang comment. Ayaw pang isara ang program. Okay. I think what Adri says, I think what I took from this conversation with online dating and LDR, it's really about setting your goals and expectations and checking in every now and then where you're at talaga.
Mhm.
From deciding to start online dating can be a big step for a lot of people. So it's best to know what you're getting into and making sure that if you're serious about your partner, potential partner, you guys are on the same page. Haha, thank you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much. Thank you
Adrian.
for that comment that really summarizes I think
Right.
what Kathy and I have talked about. Kathy,
Right.
I can't thank you enough,
Thank
for
you.
being so generous with your time and your insights regarding the phenomenon of online
Long.
dating and
Yeah.
LDRs. I wish you a happy Valentine.
Thank you, and I wish you the
You
same too. Yes.
Yes, and to all who have joined us today, happy Valentine to all of you. It's not a day, it's a celebration of
Yes.
love, I think. So I will not say happy Valentine's Day. I will say happy Valentine to all of
Make
you.
every day Valentine. Right. Yeah.
Yes, and then we'll see you again on the first Friday of March. We will talk about a special topic on women's health because March is a celebration of Women's Month. So um, we will talk about the female in
Nice.
every aspect. So, thank you very much for tuning in and joining us tonight. And for all of you who are in a relationship or looking for one, I wish you all the best. It's one of the most exciting things we can ever do in our lives. So, good night
Good
and thank
night.
you. Bye,
Thank you.
Kathy.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.